Well, 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago, back the day before the January the 6th, big time scandal where they love to say that Trump supporters invaded and stormed the Capitol, even though we now know that over 300 associates, undercover FBI agents, and other agencies, people were on the ground there. Another thing that happened that day was that they found kabooms that were located at the RNC building, the Republican National Committee, and the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. So both of those kabooms were found in backpacks at those locations. And for almost 5 years, we heard nothing about it. The Biden administration sat on information. The agents said they worked it, but they never came forward with any suspects, with anybody who actually did it. And then a little while back, the Blaze, which is Glenn, through their analysis, they came up with an individual who they believe to be the suspect. And come to find out, she was a member of the Capitol Police Squad and had been given a position with the Central Intelligence Agency. But now they have found out who the actual suspect was, and they utilized AI, credit card records, phone records. They triangulated this thing, kind of like an enemy of the state type deal, and they located who it was. And who it was this individual you see right here, Brian Cole Jr. He is the alleged pipe kaboom person who dropped him off on that day. Now, a little bit about this man, we'll go into it a little bit, and then I'm gonna get into these clips, because wait till you hear the scandal that's already going. Jake Tapper out the gate. I mean, already when he reported the story, wait till you hear what he says, and then we're gonna follow it up where you're gonna hear from Pam Bondi, but wait till you find out about his parents. And as you already know, the spin has already started, and they're trying to label this man a Trump supporter. But when you see and hear this evidence, there is no way in the world you can identify this person as a Trump supporter. As a matter of fact, there's a reason why the Biden administration didn't want this to come out. Look at him. He's a black man, 30-year-old black man. Doesn't fit the narrative for the Democrats, because remember that everybody there was a deranged Trump supporter that was trying to bring the nation down and was trying to pull a coup with no weapons. And there was a man, Ray Epps, out there who was an FBI associate telling people, he was the first one telling people to storm the Capitol. He was the one that motivated and riled people up and got them to do it.
President Trump is finished speaking. We are going to the Capitol. It's that direction. That's where our true problems lie. President Trump is done speaking. We are going to the Capitol. That's where our problems are. Okay, folks, we need your help. As soon as President Trump stops speaking, we are going to the Capitol. The Capitol's in that direction. Let people know. Spread the word.
But that's a whole nother story. So read a little bit of this. I'll make it a little larger. All right. So we got DC kaboom suspect Brian Jerome Cole Jr. lived with his mother and other family in a 5-bedroom house outside of Dale City and worked as a bail bondsman in the family business. The house was a $700,000 very nice house. They live in a very nice neighborhood. A federal affidavit unsealed Thursday reveals what finally led federal agents to identify the 30-year-old Cole as the shadowy figure captured on surveillance video placing pipe kabooms outside the Democratic and Republican national headquarters buildings the night before January 6, 2021 riot at the U.S. Capitol. Cole was arrested late Thursday morning at the family's home on Manor House Court off Minnieville Road and charged with transporting an explosive device across state lines and attempted malicious destruction by means of fire and explosive materials, the U.S. Department of Justice said in a news release. Now, let's check this out. Now, I want you to hear Jake Tapper's reporting of this, okay? Listen good to Jake Tapper's. Now, you just saw the clip, and you just saw that article, and you saw this individual. Listen to Jake.
The FBI finally announced that they had arrested a suspect accused of planting pipe bombs near the Republican and Democratic National Committee headquarters the night before the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburb.
Did you hear that? Hold on, I'm going to take it on back. Listen to what he said. And to all of my white brothers and sisters, you see what they try to do? See, they're creating this disdain where black, brown, and whatever other color people look at white folks a certain way. There was no reason for Jake Tapper to lie like that. He knows the color of this individual just like we do. Now, is he going to come back and correct it? It's no different when the media goes and picks the most ghetto, ignorant, talking black person they can find and put them on the camera. Oh, yes, oh, he is. I don't even know whatever. And got the whole world thinking like, oh, my God, that's how they talk? Wearing head bonnets and looking crazy. No, they do this on purpose. It's propaganda. But listen to this again.
Capitol attack. Brian Cole Jr., A 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction by means of explosion. CNN observed local and federal law enforcement outside his home in Woodbridge, Virginia this morning. Attorney General Pam Bondi gave very few details about the suspect this morning, but said this cold case has been solved.
Now, you just heard Jake Tapper say a 30-year-old white man. Now, listen to this reporting. The reason why I like this, because this is off BS Now, which is MSDNC, but they got dropped by NBC because they're so terrible and so racist. But this is about BS Now. Listen to how they're reporting the story. Check this out.
Between now and 3 years ago, artificial intelligence. I've been talking to my sources, former FBI officials who believe they applied AI tools to this huge data set of credit card records and cell phone records and license plate reader records that they had gathered, and they were able to get a hit that pointed to this suspect, and then they subpoenaed his credit card records, and then it was all available for everyone to see.
Chief, help us understand how this can slip through the cracks.
I think in this case, it was the overwhelming amount of data that they were dealing with. Interviewing over 1,000 people, they had tens of thousands of video cameras or videos.
Now, they had time to prosecute President Trump 4 different times. They had time to do all those investigations, the federal government, Merrick Garland, raid Mar-a-Lago, but they did not have time to find out who it was that set up kabooms at 2 of the political party headquarters is in D.C. If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I'll never ask you for a cash app, a super chat, or a donation. You hitting that like button helps a great deal. And if while you're at it, if you hit that like button, make sure after that you hit that hype button. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. Once you do, make sure you hit the notification bell and select all, because YouTube will make sure you get notified when I upload new videos when you hit all. So hit all and let YouTube let you know the next time I upload new videos.
To look at. But look, I'm not here to make excuses.
All right. And you see the home. Very nice.
For why it took so long. I will say that during my time as Capitol Police Chief, I got periodic briefings from the FBI on this case. It never crossed my mind that they weren't still working actively on this case.
So as you heard, a whole bunch of nothing. Nobody can explain how is it that within a matter of months, because remember, Cash Patel and Dan Bongino didn't get sworn in right away. They got stalled out by the Democrats. So by the time they got in, I want to say around March, maybe April, they got in within a matter of months using the same information that the Biden administration had, but yet they were able to triangulate and find out who this person was. But again, there's a reason why the Biden administration did not want to catch this person, because the whole storyline they've been using was this was a right-wing deranged coup, and it was only Trump supporters that was upset. But now, guess what's happening? Now, here's the kicker. I'm going to show you what's already happening on the internet right now. Okay? Now, see what this individual says. This narrative is false. Check out source from below. NBC, MSNBC, the New York Post, the National Post. Brian Coe Jr. has no political affiliation or anarchist ties. Motive is coming out now to be confirmed. Still doesn't stop people from spinning it their way before the facts even come out. What is he talking about? This nut job, Brian Krasenstein, who is a left-wing propagandist shill. He puts out this post breaking. Reports indicate that Brian Coe Jr. has confessed that he planted the kabooms and has indicated he supported President Trump, according to BS Now. So MSDNC, aka BS Now, is reporting that this individual said that he was a Trump supporter, and that's why he did what he did when he was upset, except for there's one big problem. It's the internet. It's undefeated. So what we found out now is that accused DC pipe kaboomer Brian Coe Jr.'s dad was once defended by by the same attorney who represented George Floyd. Wouldn't you know, this racial freaking propagandist Ben Crump, where every time him and Al Sharpton show up, every time there's an opportunity to race bait. That's his job. He is on the left, and his job is to take any issue that happens between black people and white people and make it into the worst racial thing that's ever happened on the planet. He was there for Trayvon Martin. He was there for George Floyd. And now he's there for this. And you telling me that this man, family, and him is a Trump supporter? But it goes even deeper than that. Okay, because the Daily Wire really did a deep dive. Check this out. Alleged pipe kaboomer's family, they sued the Trump administration, DHS, over illegal immigration, asked Biden DOJ to address racism, and the bail bonds company that they had helped free illegal immigrants. And right there, the father of Brian Cole, a bail bondsman for illegal immigrants, hired Trayvon Martin's attorney in 2021 for a case that he had where he was trying to sell his business and said that the state was blocking him. And of course, they were blocking the sale of his company because he was black and they were being racist. But this is a Trump supporter. Let's read a little bit of this, and then I'm going to let you hear from Pam Bondi. Brian Cole Jr. worked for a bail bonds company run by his father that worked to free illegal immigrants from ICE facilities and sued the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security. Right now is the open enrollment period for healthcare, which is why I want to take a moment to give a shout out to the sponsor of this video and partner of the channel, Chapter. Chapter is helping seniors right now who are confused. Some are just new to having to get Medicare. Others who already have Medicare but want to make sure they got the best Medicare plans available. I highly encourage you to reach out to Chapter. Chapter has highly skilled, unbiased agents that are helping seniors make sure that they've got the best Medicare plans available, because it sucks to find out your prescriptions are no longer covered and your doctor is no longer in network on the plan you currently have. The phone call is absolutely free, and it could go as quick as 20 minutes. In less than 20 minutes, you can find out to make sure you got the best Medicare plan available. And the great news about it is that Chapter has been helping seniors save as much as $1,100 a year, making sure they have the best Medicare plan. So I'm sure you can find something to do with an extra $1,100 in your pocket. So don't waste time. It's extremely important to protect yourself and protect your health. So give Chapter a call or follow the website at askchapter.org/realpolitics and make sure you've got the best Medicare plans available. Weeks before 30-year-old Cole Jr. allegedly planted the pipe kabooms at the headquarters of the Democrat and Republican parties on January the 5th, 2021, a court ruled against the company in its lawsuit attacking the Trump administration on immigration issues, the Daily Wire has learned. An FBI affidavit in the case notes that the suspect works for a bail bond company and lives with his mother. Later in 2021, the company held a press conference bemoaning anti-black racism with a left-wing attorney, Cole Sr. and Benjamin Crump, who represented the family of Trayvon Martin and George Floyd, attempted to sic the Biden Department of Justice on a local Tennessee prosecutor who raised questions about the bail bond company. A high-profile civil rights attorney is calling for a federal investigation into a Rutherford County prosecutor accused of discrimination. Nashville news outlet WPLN reported on November 16, 2021. Cole Sr., who is black, claimed racial persecution by Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney John Zimmerman. Coincidental, the last name Zimmerman. You got Ben Crump coming in. I don't know. Video shows Zimmerman had raised concerns about the bail bond company's ethics, noting that it has been suspended from operating in a nearby district. Standing alongside Crump, he said to the media, "He's defamed me. He called my insurance company. We hope the Department of Justice can come in and do a brief investigation because we've seen a lot of questionable acts that Mr. Zimmerman has demonstrated towards minority-owned companies." And so it goes into more of the racial bullcrap about that. But this is the individual who we're talking about. Then we go down here. Brian Cole is listed as statewide bonding's owner in the dispute over bonds for illegal immigrants in the state of Colorado. Statewide sued the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security over its policies relating to illegal immigrants. Weeks before Cole allegedly planted the pipe kabooms, on November the 10th of 2020, the U.S. Court of Appeals in D.C. sided with the administration on the case, ruling that the lower court had properly thrown out all of Statewide's claims. One of several lawsuits complained that Statewide was being harmed unfairly when its illegal immigrant clients failed to appear at court dates. Statewide have secured the bond for thousands of immigrants. If an immigrant does not appear, that failure to appear is considered a breach of bond. When a bond is breached, at that point, all plaintiffs are subjected to a steep financial penalty, is said. So, as you see, this man's family sued the government, sued the Trump administration on behalf of illegal immigrants, got left-wing radical race-baiting attorney Ben Crump, who represented Trayvon Martin's family, George Floyd's family, and they want you to believe that this man was a Trump supporter. This is how far the lamestream media goes. But listen to what Attorney General Bondi has to say.
Today's arrest happened because the Trump administration has made this case a priority. The total lack of movement on this case in our nation's capital undermined the public trust of our enforcement agencies. This cold case languished for 4 years until Director Patel and Deputy Director Bongino came to the FBI. The FBI, along with U.S. Attorney Pirro and all of our prosecutors, have worked tirelessly for months, sifting through evidence that had been sitting at the FBI with the Biden administration for 4 long years. Let me be clear, there was no new tip, there was no new witness, just good, diligent police work and prosecutorial work, working as a team along with ATF, Capitol Police, Metropolitan Police Department, and of course, the FBI. We are working every day to restore the public's trust. We hope that today is a significant step towards that progress. We'll share more information when we can and when it unfolds.
Now, in another clip she has, she talks about this individual's connections to Antifa. That's another thing I add in. When they went through his social media, Antifa and BLM. He also was a supporter of BLM, Antifa. His father ran a bondsman company that freed illegal immigrants. They hired left-wing race-baiting attorney Ben Crump. Now, what I want you to hear, I want you to check this out. This video is from August the 30th of 2024. Before Dan Bongino became deputy director of the FBI, before he even knew that was even a possibility. Check out what he says and the type of foresight he had just from his connections on the ground. And the Biden administration, which had the Department of Justice and the FBI at their disposal, was unable to come up with this conclusion that Bongino just so happened to hit the nail on the head with. Check this out.
You ready for number 2? Here's another one. Separate whistleblower reaches out to me. This I've been working on for a while. This isn't new. Folks, let's just get this out of the way about January 6th. It is now confirmed. I mean, you knew this in advance. So this is why I put this first. This is not breaking news. However, I can confirm to you, in case you were even remotely deluded about it, say you're a lefty watching my show, that the FBI 100% had undercovers in the crowd on January 6th. I know you know that. I'm just saying Christopher Wray's been shady about it and others. I'm telling you from a source on the ground with photo evidence to back it up. The FBI and other agencies, not just the FBI, by the way, had multiple undercovers on the ground on January 6th. Period. There's now no disputing it. I've seen the evidence. Number 2, the pipe bombs that were placed at the DNC and the RNC that I believe were planted there on purpose by people looking to frame Trump supporters to stop the objection to the certification of the vote. They didn't want people talking about voter fraud problems, so they needed this.
Did you hear what he did? Did you hear what he said? He said that that person was going to be someone that they were going to use to try to frame President Trump and the supporters, as in saying they wanted to stop the certification. And what we're finding out now is the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, failed to accept the 10,000 National Guard that President Trump offered.
We have responsibility, Terry. We did not have any accountability for what was going on there, and we should have. This is ridiculous. You're going to ask me in the middle of the thing when they've already breached the inaugural stuff that should we call the Capitol Police? I mean the National Guard? Why weren't the National Guard there to begin with?
They thought that they had sufficient resources.
That is not a question of how they had. They don't know. They clearly didn't know, and I take responsibility for not having them just prepare for more.
The January 6th committee doing the investigations failed to bring in the chief. The chief of the Capitol Police was never brought in and allowed to testify before the J6 committee. You know why? Because he's telling the truth about what happened, and it didn't fit the narrative.
The restrictions I had as the chief, and ask yourself why the January 6th committee never requested that I come and publicly testify. Think about that. I'm the chief of the Capitol Police. To have me come down and publicly testify before the January 6th committee, because I think they were concerned. It would begin to show what went on the 6th, what went on the days leading up to the 6th, and what was the involvement of political leadership and their appointees.
Wow.
Also, we learned that the J6 committee was contacting witnesses off the cuff and outside of hearings, which is unethical and not supposed to happen, kind of planning them with what they're supposed to say. We also know that the J6 committee no longer, they destroyed all of the evidence, all of it. Witness testimony, any evidence they supposedly had to come up with their conclusions, all of that's gone for supposedly the worst day in American history. All of that's gone. Now we find out that the person who dropped and planted the kabooms was an Antifa supporter, a BLM supporter. Father ran a bail bondsman company for illegal immigrants and hired left-wing radical race-baiting attorney Benjamin Crump, who worked for Trayvon Martin and George Floyd's family. But now you got people like Brian Krassenstein coming out with posts and how in BS now, when this person is just in there meeting with officials today, BS now says, oh, it's come out that he was a Trump supporter. But yet we've got overwhelming evidence that he lives in a $700,000 house. And the boy's grandmother, the young man's grandmother, said that he's slow, like he's kind of autistic. Was he given that assignment by his father and Ben Crump as a sign of propaganda, and they're pissed, and just the kabooms failed to go off? They tracked his credit card and know it was him buying the stuff. They got him dead to rights. So I wanted to bring you this information to let you know they finally got him, and do not pay attention, ignore when they try to say, oh, that was a Trump supporter. No, it's not. Just like all those other things that happened, like in Minnesota, the person that took the lives of those two state legislatures, those two Democrat state legislators, remember they said that was a Trump supporter. You know, we found out that individual was somebody that was appointed by Tim Walz to the Minnesota, like one of the legislative departments in Minnesota, appointed by Tim Walz. And that individual also came out and said that Tim Walz was the one that told him to also go take the life of Amy Klobuchar so Tim Walz can run and take her Senate seat. Remember the unalivings that happened in the church? Oh, that was a Trump supporter of the guns. Nope. Manifestos revealed it was a transgender, anti-American atheist who went in there and did that. So whenever they start saying, remember, Democrats project, whenever they say Trump supporter, you might as well just hold that mirror up, because you know it's coming back. And they love to say, oh, right-wing extremists and right wings and blah, blah, blah. Last time I checked, you know, are there radical crazy people on all sides? Yes, like the Ahmaud Arbery case in Georgia, where those two white guys dragged that guy that was just jogging and took his life. But guess what? They're both in prison serving life sentences. Justice was served. But just like on the flip side of that, when black people hurt some white person and everybody wants to say, well, everybody's quiet. But if the same thing happens, all people want to tear up the street, just like out there in Texas, where that Carmelo Anthony idiot took the life of Austin. I forget the young boy's last name. Took the life of that other young man that had a promising future, was going to college on scholarships, while this 1.2 GPA having nut job that don't know what his future was going to be, and people stayed quiet. Matter of fact, they even did a GoFundMe. So at the end of the day, all of this saying, all this stuff, all this terror comes from the right. I think what we've been seeing is nothing but projection, because from Charlie Kirk to all of these riots, to the Summer of Love in 2020, to, you know, ICE officers being ambushed, this has all been the radicalization of the left. And now we've got more evidence and more proof of Antifa radicalization of the left, and this time it's a black face. So they can't spin it as white-wing extremists. What are they going to call it now? What are they going to call it now? Call it what it is, left-wing extremists. That's what it is, because they can't use the whole right-wing white extremists. You can't use that, blackface. That's what they're pissed about. So they're going to try to spin it on Trump, but we got the proof, and you saw the evidence, so there it is. So leave a comment. Tell me what you think. And let me tell you, if you stayed and you watched the video up to this point, thank you. From the top and bottom of my heart, thank you so much, because a lot of work goes into it. But the fact that you watch it, the fact that y'all let me know how much you like it, or if there's some you disagree with. You guys are you guys and ladies are so honest and open, and I just love the interaction and the feedback that I get from you. So leave a comment, and if you're not subscribed already, subscribe. But most importantly, make sure that you stay safe and that you be great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.